Welcome to Leading at a Higher Level in Nantucket. This is Mark Forsyth, and today we're joined by Carolyn Lamm, Senior Partner from White & Case in Washington, D.C. Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, great to see you, Mark.
I hope we're not encroaching too much on your wonderful time here on Nantucket.
No, it's always wonderful on Nantucket.
Yeah, that is true. So you are a senior partner. You've been with the firm for over 20 years. Prior to that, you were at the Justice Department, correct?
That's right. I joined White & Case in 1980, and I became a partner in 84.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great place.
And you've also served as president of the American Bar Association and president of the Washington, D.C. Bar Association.
That is correct.
All right. So just to give a little sense to our learners about what you're doing and what you have done, let's first talk about your Nantucket story, the most important question. What is your Nantucket story?
Well, we've been coming here since we were young lawyers at the Justice Department.
Yeah.
My husband and we had many friends, and we've gone many places in the summer, but this is home for the summer. It's really such a divine island. And we have two sons. They love coming here. We have so many friends from Washington and New York that are here. So it offers everything. It offers, lots of athletic things to do. It offers friends. And it's such a beautiful place. You really come here and recharge.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you're recharging. So let's talk a little bit about your firm, White & Case. And I think it's interesting around one of the main pillars of leading at a higher level is how do you set a vision? So I know the firm has a vision, but what's your take on how do you set the vision either on a case-by-case basis or with your team?
It is. There are truly multiple visions. We have a fabulous managing partner, Hugh Verrier, who collaborates with the leadership of the firm to set the vision for the firm. I lead our America's Disputes Resolutions, International Arbitration for the Americas. And in that, I have a number of offices and people that are involved in Washington and all over. And we develop a vision for that as well, about what kinds of things we'd like to be doing, how we'd like to be doing them, how many people we need to be doing them, et cetera. And of course, that's all part of a larger global scheme because the firm is very global. And, then you also lead your cases. Mm-hmm. And on each of the cases, you definitely, in a very collaborative way with the other lawyers that you've assigned to the team, develop a strategy, develop the theories, develop the approaches, work with the client to develop their goals and objectives, and work to develop the facts, because all of that is crucial to setting whatever your theory is and whatever your vision is for a particular case.
So do you pull all that down into kind of a simple vision? So I know the vision for any case is you want to win for your client, right? But that's not really a vision. That's kind of a goal, but do you boil all those elements down into this is our vision statement for this case?
You do, but sometimes part of setting the vision is defining what is winning. Mm-hmm. Some clients come and they've really done some difficult things. So you've got to be honest at the outset and say, well, you know what? A win here could be a judgment against you for a smaller amount of money.
Yeah, right. No, that's honest. Yeah.
There is no way in certain instances to come out with zero, although sometimes you do, no matter what goes on for all kinds of legal reasons. But you do have to define what is winning, but you also have to assess in a very granular way what's the evidence, what are the facts, what are the witnesses going to say, who's to be believed, what are the contemporaneous documents, how do you build what really went on, taking into account both sides.
Yeah.
And then it's really analytically, you need strong analysis of the potential legal theories.
So you're pulling a team together on a case, and it's important for a team to have a direction and a vision and a goal. So I guess it's a two-part question. How do you pull teams together on large global arbitration cases like that? And then how do you make sure they know that vision?
Well, it's both a function of who are going to be the very best people for the kind of case you have, who's got the experience and the knowledge and can work together well. They're not all the same on every case. They really do differ. But you know, the important thing is recognizing the strengths of each of the people and putting together teams that can work collaboratively and well together, and really valuing what each person has to contribute. And, you know, it's not that there is never disagreement, but people have to play well in the sandbox.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
to know how to work together. You bring them together in either group meetings, or you always communicate and convey. And whether you do it on a person-by-person basis or you do it internally, just making sure everybody knows who's doing what. And even if you, as the top partner on something, can't talk to every single person, you have other people who are in charge of issues, who are in charge of factual development, who will deal with them and will listen to what people have to say.
So when you have an important case, you've got the team in place, you've got the vision aligned. How do you deal with some of the people issues that come up on the team? Because you got personality of different ways of communications, different norms of operations. Is that the senior partner that's on the case's job to mitigate all that?
You do have to deal with all of those things, and I usually find open communication, very direct communication about how we're going to go forward here. What can we do?
Yeah.
What's my view of the way we ought to do it, and why's that wrong?
Right.
Why should we be doing this in another way? And it's not that you never change your mind, but you have to have some kind of a concept born of experience, et cetera, that kind of tells you where you ought to be going and how, but you take into account what other people have to say.
Yeah, that's important, I'm sure.
Yes.
So I'm just envisioning, so another main pillar leading at a higher level is how do you treat your people? Do you treat your people right? So you have this big important case, and we all have this vision of working at a law firm that everyone's toiling away at all hours, which I'm sure is partly true, but it's tough to have a culture like that. So how do you treat your people right on major cases like that?
Well, you do have to treat your people right, but that doesn't mean that you get to sleep every night.
Maybe every other night.
You get recognized, certainly, and well compensated if you're working a huge amount of time. But you have to understand that if you're in the #1 practice in the world, and ours is rated that way,
Right. Yep.
and you're working on some of the most challenging cases in the world, that you're not going to do it from 9 to 5, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And when your clients are primarily overseas, so you're in different time zones by a magnitude. I mean, Europe is easy.
Yeah.
I spend my mornings
Early
doing
morning.
Europe, but if you're doing a lot of Asia and the Middle East, it's even a bigger time gap, and you have to adjust, and different weekends.
Right.
So that you don't have everyone off on Saturday and Sunday. Many are off on Thursday and Friday, or Friday and Saturday.
Right.
And the first day of the week is Sunday, so you darn well better be ready to go on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it really requires, and it's part of the territory. You have to recognize that that's it, and you must adjust.
Sounds challenging, though exciting too. I mean,
Very exciting. You don't get to work on those issues and do the
Right.
caliber of work that you do, from 9 to 5, Monday through Thursday.
yeah. So why would people join White and Case? So it sounds like you're working on some of the most fascinating, interesting, challenging cases in the world. So that has to be
That's
one
right.
attraction. But what about things about the culture, like and you're going to work hard. That
Right.
can be attractive as well.
But you know what? We make adjustments and cover for each other. We recognize that everybody's got families, everybody's got other things to fit in, and you do. We really work to make sure that each person, not all day, every day, gets to do what they want to do. But if one of my partners wants to go to their kids' play, they're going to go, and I'm going to cover for them, and vice versa.
Right.
And
Work it out.
You work it out. If I'm up here for a week, I work all morning. I usually work some of the night. I work some in between. I do
Sneak
what
it
I
in.
have to do
Right.
to make sure I deliver the service I need to deliver.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine, another main component of leading at a higher level is how does the firm treat their customers? And obviously by you taking time away from your vacation to service your customers, that's evident of that.
No, really, you really do. The firm recognizes it with compensation, obviously, if you're really sacrificing a lot of time, because your hours will be high.
Right.
And your revenue should be high, or else you're not doing a good job.
Right.
You really, it takes a big team and a lot of work, but you are compensated, and I don't think money is the only compensation. It really is part of working together collaboratively with a team of people you respect that truly achieve great things for your clients. It's, at the end of the day, it's what you can do to help your clients that is the most important thing. And you feel like you're doing valuable work. You feel like you're moving an issue forward.
And your customers, I'm sure, appreciate that and
They're,
see that.
they're
with the
very
results.
happy. And
And that's important.
it is important. I've even had clients, if I have not achieved what I wanted to achieve in a certain case, stay with me and believe that we had done the very best we could have done. But you have to have an open and collaborative approach all the way through so that they know the risks, they know what winning is, they know what can happen.
You really have that trust built.
You must build that trust and
great.
Communicate.
Right. Well, we'll be right back. We're going to take a short break. This is Leading at a Higher Level in Nantucket, and today we're joined by Carolyn Lamm, Senior Partner at White & Case, and we'll be right back.
Leading at a Higher Level Nantucket is brought to you by the Ken Blanchard Companies and FT Press, an imprint of the world's learning company, Pearson, whose mission is helping people make progress in their lives through learning. The new third edition of Ken Blanchard's Leading at a Higher Level is available at informate.com/Nantucket.
Welcome back to Leading at a Higher Level. Today we're joined by Carolyn Lamm, Senior Partner with White & Case. Let's talk about the right kind of leadership, another key component and pillar of leading at a higher level. So, two-part question. You served on the American Bar Association as president. It's a different type of leadership expectation and culture, and you're a leader at White & Case. Can you share with us the differences that you felt in those two different
Sure.
positions?
They're really tremendously different. I mean, a lot comes from the same set of values, of course, but, communication.
Your values.
My values.
Yep.
Communication, collaboration, respect for approaches, developing a vision. But in the American Bar Association, at the time I was president, we had 435,000 lawyer members. And of that, each of the state and local bars are involved, and you have all the substantive law sections, and everybody's got a different view. And you have a policy-making body, the House of Delegates, you have a Board of Governors, you have officers and exec committees, and you've got to bring them all together so that to develop the vision on a particular issue and get consensus is hugely challenging.
I bet.
Hugely challenging.
Yeah.
And even on legal issues, you tend to have at least two well-reasoned views.
Sure.
And,
So what do you
and
do?
certainly political issues,
Yeah.
you have more than one view.
Yeah.
So it really takes a lot of communication and distilling to get things to the point where you can convey a unified position. And you, as president of the ABA, you can't speak on something unless you've got policies set by the House of Delegates or when it's not meeting by the board. So you spend a lot of time refining the positions to be something that you can take on behalf of the association. But at the same time, you've got to inspire it.
Right.
You've got to lead. You've got to let people know where we should be going in your view and why, and persuade people to buy into it. So it really is a challenging thing to come out with a position. Now, there are some positions of the association on rule of law, access to justice, service of the public interest that, of course, you're going to convey.
Right.
And that's something that it is pretty easy to get everyone on board for, and to let the public know, and the Hill know, and the administration know
Sure.
what the profession's view is on it.
So you're weighing in on legislation. at
You
the
weigh in
Hills.
on legislation, you
That's
weigh in
interesting.
on a lot of professional issues as well, and a lot of issues in the public interest
Sure.
and access to justice.
So it sounds like from the Bar Association side, as a leader, you're really having to use a lot of consensus management, collaboration, try to get
Absolutely.
to the refined point. to
Absolutely.
share. That must be difficult.
That is.
That many lawyers.
And that many different views,
Yeah.
well articulated and
Sure.
many times well reasoned.
Yeah, yeah. How do you argue against that?
Yeah. And whereas in a law firm, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
You are collaborating with your team, very obviously, and you're looking at what does the law tell us we can do? What are the options? What are the approaches? What's the evidence? What can we argue? What works in view of that? And then working with the client. And when you have clients from all over the world, and many of my clients are foreign governments, you're working what is palatable to them in their political system, in their economic system, under their legal system, to be arguing in an arbitration or in a court. When you stand up in a court in the United States on behalf of the Russian Federation
Right.
or the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia or
Right.
whomever, it has to be a view that is acceptable. And it takes a lot of work listening to your client and working with your client to develop what's going to work in a U.S. court or to a particular arbitral panel. So it does take a fair amount of collaboration and understanding of political, legal, economic, all kinds of issues.
I would imagine the personality of your client, you have to keep that in mind too, right? Their temperament or their demeanor.
It is surprising. I respect and really enjoy all of my clients. And, there may be some public persona, but I find to a client, there are smart, well-educated people, strategic people that want to do the best for their country.
Right.
And it's not, I think
argue with that.
a lot of people portray certain countries and certain ethnic groups in a certain way, but I don't find it believable.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the White and Case leadership culture. So if I was a young lawyer joining White and Case, what would I see from the leaders? Like, what's the leadership culture like?
Well, I think the leadership culture is very good. It's varied. We have 38 offices or 39 in many, many countries, and so you have very different groups. Some of them are huge.
Yeah.
In New York and London and Paris and
Those are your big offices.
DC, those are big offices with hundreds of lawyers. And, that's very different from an office that has 10 or 20.
Yeah, right.
Where you
That's
know
true.
everybody and know everyone's family and know all the cases that they're working on, et cetera. So the leadership culture, we have strong leaders. We have wonderfully capable people who set a vision, but they do it on the basis of collaboration with each of the offices, each of the practice groups, and we have good managers who we do a fair amount of training to assure that they're listening and leading and facilitating the work that we do.
That's great. What about so your lawyers and your billable lawyers, right? And it's a meritocracy for sure, but you need to develop people. How does the firm develop the leaders?
No, that's very important. And it's very important to develop every lawyer. And that means developing them to meet their goals, help them adjust their professional goals. And law firms, especially big law firms, the economic model is you do intake many young lawyers.
Right.
And you don't have many partners. So in a law firm of 2,200 lawyers, we have 400 partners, or it fluctuates a bit now and then, but in fact, there are many more people who are not partners.
Right.
And so each of them has to feel that they have the opportunity to learn, to grow, to benefit professionally, in addition to income.
Right.
And everyone knows if you work hard, you will be compensated, but you need to grow as a lawyer, as a person, and feel that White & Case is the best place to do it because you're working on the best cases, you're really doing things that you're not going to be able to do in that many other firms with really talented people at the top level who you can learn from.
Right.
You know, when I was at the Justice Department, I was trying cases, and you're at 4 years out of law school, 3 years out of law school, you're the main trial lawyer. You're trying cases.
That's learning by doing.
You learn by doing.
Yeah.
And after a while, I was looking at my opponents who were older and had a lot more techniques, and I thought, I need some of that.
Yeah.
So it really is true. You need to be at a place where you feel you can learn.
Yeah.
As a lawyer and grow as a lawyer, even if it's not your forever home.
Right.
Even if I might go back to the place I grew up, I might go in-house, I might do all kinds of things, I might take a political appointment.
Right.
But what you want to do is learn to be the very best you can and learn what you really love doing. You have to love what you do.
Yep, that is true. What about, so if I'm a lawyer and I'm a people leader at White & Case, are there formal development programs that are offered to me, or you did a great job explaining learning on the job and learning from others and just getting some rounding experience from different type of casework. But is there more formal development that's offered?
There is a fair amount of formal development. First we have weekly all kinds of continuing legal ed offered in-house. You can do webinars or all kinds of things, and we have lectures, and we broadcast them firm-wide to all of our offices. But in terms of management skills and case management skills, we do train. For that. And we do have meetings of those who are leaders and convey what it is that we think you should do to lead well in the firm.
That's good. That's great. What about key people in your life? Like you are in the midst of a remarkable career, and you've mentioned the importance of mentoring a little bit, like, I want to be able to pick up some tricks. But what about key people in your life that have helped you kind of achieve the results that you have?
No, there are so many. There are so many that you look up to. I certainly always the leadership at the firm. When I joined, Jim Herlock was our managing partner who really took us forward to be the global firm we are today. And he certainly had a carrot and stick approach to management. He and a vision that he was absolutely driven to achieve, and he did. And he certainly instilled much. And I think there are so many people that I look up to. I look at the Supreme Court and see Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Who's better than that?
Right.
I mean, in terms of analytical ability, a great mind, but a great heart that really does the right thing. And I've had so many others who, Toy Feliciano, who was the Chief Justice of the Philippines Supreme Court, and I sat with him as an arbitrator. We were co-counsel in a big case for the Philippines. He was managing partner of one of the big Philippine firms. Just watching someone like that, working with them, learning how they think, how they interact, how they convey things. You learn a tremendous amount.
And from another culture, nonetheless,
For another
too.
culture.
Yeah,
From
that must have been fascinating.
Yeah, a completely different culture. But I have had the opportunity to work with so many people like that who are inspirational, certainly, and you watch what they do and you learn.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good way to learn. Well, thank you so much for coming in and being a guest on our show. You have a great story, and I know our learners are going to be fascinated to hear it.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right.
A pleasure.
This is Leading at a Higher Level in Nantucket, and we'll see you next week.